It is Wednesday, and we are back. Another pod ready and teed up for you all. Good pod. I'm sitting here alone right now, but earlier today I had Kyle Schultz to my left. We had Nick Saylor on the line. Jack Agner, my co-host as well. We're talking about Jung's Backyard Battle, an epic tournament that was in Texas this past weekend. 77 teams, one day. It was unbelievable. Some professional players were there, Rangers, other team members as well. Sound like an incredible event. A lot of behind the scenes stuff from Kyle, getting Saylor's funny opinions as well, and as he reflects on not only the tournament but also last season, and then Jack and I breaking down the award show later in this one. So good episode. Jack, you want to send us to the intro?
Yeah, we stick around to the end. We had some segments too that we haven't done in a while, so some quality segments. But this is the Pipe It Up podcast. Cue the intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pipe It Up podcast, the official podcast of MLW Wiff Ball. We got a nice cast of characters here with us this evening here. In studio to my left is Kyle Schultz. He's been holding the fort down in that left chair here, right side of the room on screen. And then joining us on Zoom is my co-host Jack Agner, as well as,
howdy.
Drumroll please, Nick Saylor of the Western Wildcats.
We got him.
Pod favorite. Saylor, how are we, man? Good to see you.
I'm good to see you, man. Great weekend. Just got back, getting ready to chill, watch this football game, talking some wiffle with you guys, man. Looking forward to it.
I know, NFL playoffs are upon us. I mean, besides the weather, life's pretty good right now, I must say. I'm sure you guys are pretty exhausted, and that's one of the first things Jack and I want to talk about. I'll ask a pretty open-ended question here, Kyle, but just how is Texas? How was the... What do we call it? What'd you call it? The Jung's
Backyard Battle.
Jung's Backyard Battle. How was it?
It was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable, says Kamish.
First of all, it's been the only time where we had a one-day tournament. Like usually we have pool play on Saturday, Sunday for single elim bracket play. This was all combined onto one day, and we had 77 teams, which makes for the largest non-wiffle in the mitten tournament. So one that we had to travel to. So 77 teams. We had 7 MLB players there. We had hundreds more general admission fans.
Oh wow!
That were just all in the outfield seating there. So an insane day. So just under 100 wiffle ball games were played. We had a home run derby. Rangers had an auction going. Merchandise of all sorts. One of the most unique, maybe the most unique tournaments, like tournament days we've ever had. Probably the most unique. Insane.
That's insane.
Is that the most? Is that the most MLB players we've ever had at an event?
At a tournament for sure. Really the only guy that's played in an MLW tournament was Josh. For some more background for you guys that don't know. So yeah, Josh started playing in our Texas Rumble down in Houston 2022 and last year. So he's a back-to-back champ. He played on my squad alongside Saylor and Norp, and he just loves wiffle ball. He loves playing, and we just wanted to keep growing like our relationship and playing wiffle ball together. So we thought, what better place to do it than his home stadium of Globe Life Field? So
pretty sweet way to do it.
I know. So we just like collaboratively pitched to their special events team, and January is a great time to do it when guys are kind of in the off season. They have their routines and stuff, but nothing's too serious. They're not reporting to spring training yet. So it was a perfect time to kind of book this day, bring the MLW show on the road to an MLB Ballpark. History made for us to host a tournament in a venue like that.
It probably helps to walk into the special events coordinator's virtual office on Zoom when you're joined alongside their all-star third baseman who they're paying millions of dollars, World Series champ.
That helps a lot. No, I truly appreciate that. It's something that I don't take for granted. Like Josh's word of approval that we can, run a tournament, run it well. It means the world. And he's the best dude. Zero ego from that guy. Like if I was a pro baseball player, I would treat it just like him. Like he's grateful for his position. He does fun events. He gives back to the fans. He like collects his own trading cards, which I think super cool. He's got that, I think that 1-of-1 with Jace, which I think he acquired, which is the coolest thing. But yeah, he's just a great dude. There was also a Miracle League tie-in too, so some of the profits going to that charity in the Arlington area. So just a really cool event, and we are already receiving a lot of great feedback from players, fans, everybody, but also Rangers front office personnel. So
that's sweet.
The idea is to have this be the inaugural one at Globe Life Field and keep it going.
Saylor, how about you? How was yesterday for you?
Yesterday was absolutely amazing. I love the Arlington area. We spent a lot of time down in Arlington, at Texas Live and right across the street over at Globe Life. And yesterday was insane. 77 teams, as we mentioned. The entire MLB group came in, and all the eyes were on them. And I thought that was fantastic. All the kids got to be able to sign, got stuff signed. I mean, people were wearing Adolis Garcia jerseys, getting signed by Adolis Garcia. I mean, it was a dream come true. And just again, Josh, thank you for everything. Mixing with Kyle, that's the collaboration of the year, and it's happened the past few years, and that relationship's doing nothing but growing stronger. And I'm really excited to see where the relationship goes. But Josh is awesome. Like Kyle said, zero ego. He was talking with the kids. A lot of the dads were talking to Josh as well, trying to pick their brain, maybe to get their young one to the big league someday. But Josh opened up the American Airlines section for us to kind of go and take a breath, which is along the first base line down underneath, kind of a club section.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Josh was awesome. The kids were awesome, and the competition was awesome. So I was blessed to be there, Tom. And
a lot of awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was cool to see. I was glad to be a part of it again.
What's a better collaboration, Kyle Schultz and Josh Jung, or Nick Saylor in the state of Texas? I don't know.
It's iconic.
Well, no, if there's no Kyle Schultz and Josh Jung, there's no Nick Saylor in Texas. So I'm going to take Kyle Schultz and Josh Jung. I'm excited to see where that goes.
All right,
some notes over there?
Let me run through the 7 MLB guys that were at the event. So we, of course, have Josh, All-Star World Series champ. We also have Cody Bradford. We got Adolis Garcia, who is a 2023 MLB postseason legend. We got Evan Carter, Jonah Heim, another All-Star. Jace Young, who we were really excited to meet, and he's awesome. He's just as cool as Josh, but we talked a lot with him about the Tigers, him coming up in the scene. So he's awesome, and he loves wiffle ball too. So Josh and him, they probably took it the most serious. They were going all out, and he probably had the most wanting to learn and develop as a wiffle ball player that I saw. Josh,
a lot of intrigue.
Josh already had it, but you can tell Jace wants to learn.
A lot of intrigue from Jace. I loved
meeting Jace. Also, Colton Cowser from the Baltimore Orioles. So we had 5 Rangers. We had Cowser from the Orioles, and then of course Jace Young with my Tigers. So that's the 7, and I mean that's insane. Adolis Garcia. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
No, that's. I actually didn't know that again. So when I saw the pictures, I was like, "Oh, that's so sick."
I know. I of course knew Josh had a team, and I knew Jace was on it. Mm-hmm. But you got to fill that roster out. You have to have at least 3. And then he texted me 3 or 4 days before. He's like, "I got my roster set." He sent over the names. I'm like, "Sick, sick. Let's do it." And then they all came through too. You never know with guys like that with their busy schedules and how just dedicated they are to their routines and workouts and whatever. But they went out there and we played. They played 2 real wiffle ball games in an MLW tournament. It was legit.
And how did they do? Very important question.
I'm gonna leave that to the video. So breaking news, guys. We are gonna make a video about this day. Not in the tour. It's gonna be its own individual video.
I was gonna ask that question.
I'm very excited about it. So we filmed all day long. Documents all of our travel, all the setup, the entire games. We had 6 cameras there. The entire Rangers creative team was there, so they had photography. They mic'd Josh up. I was mic'd up. Jimmy Norp was mic'd up for the entire game. So they played MLW Blue, which of course was my squad, as well as our other MLW squad as well, MLW Red. So they played against Baalman, Colm, Jeremy Adams.
That's cool for all them.
Yeah, and it was 2 very different games, but so much fun, a lot of action, and we got some insane highlights. There's one Jimmy Norp highlight in there that stands above all others.
Of course it always does. Of course there is.
And that video will come out in a few weeks. What I'm going to do is probably do top 10 plays, the tour. I'll probably put a new spin on the tour like I usually like to do each year.
Yeah.
And then after that, so this will probably be in February, that'll be the tournament. I'll probably title it something like 77 Team Wiffle Ball Tournament in MLB Stadium, very modern YouTube. I think it has a high chance of going viral, so I'm really excited about that.
That's sweet. I'm having some indigestion here of the Euros I just ate from Costco, so everybody say a prayer for me. Jack, I've been talking a lot. Anything from you on this event?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool, Kyle, that you're deciding to make a video specifically for this event, because all of these tournaments are different. Each tournament has its own, it has similar qualities that we love of our MLW tournaments, but they all bring their own thing.
Yep.
And I know Nick has been to, several of the tournaments. So Nick, I guess I would ask you if you're put on your salesman hat right now, Nick, And for the listeners that have not attended an MLW tournament yet, what would your sales pitch be to them to attend one of these events?
Man, get your boys together, and instead of sitting around on the couch, go out in the yard and practice wiffle ball for a few, and then come to the tournament. You get guaranteed games. You get to talk with everybody in the league. You get to communicate with a lot other people of your nature, like young whifflers, medium whifflers, heavily experienced whifflers, and it's just a huge collusion. And just the camaraderie between everybody there is what brings me back and why I'm happy to be there. I love talking with people, seeing people from all around the country. And like you said, Jack, they're different locations. So if we're over in Illinois, we have that section there that the fans will come to. It's good to see them. In Texas, it's good to see them. So if you're out there and you want to play wiffle ball and you want to get better, come to an MLW tournament. Ask questions. Play wiffle ball and practice, because I have seen it and you guys have seen it. As the teams come back more and more and more, they hang around longer and longer and longer and have a better chance of winning every year. So if you love wiffle ball, MLW is the spot. MLW tournaments. Sign up.
I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm sold. I want to ask both Nick and Kyle how, because I think this is the first, I think you mentioned, Kyle, this is the first tournament we did in one day. Mm-hmm. So how is that, I guess, logistically different, or just overall the feel of the tournament different?
Yeah, for me, so I'm of course always updating scores on my phone through the Turning Machine app that gives live updates to all the captains. So I had to be very immediate with those scores so that standings were always up to date, and that at around the 6 p.m. time, that's when we kind of went from the pool play portion to the semifinal bracket portion. But all the teams were great. Like if they were 2-0, had a great runs against score, they knew they were kind of in the bubble or were going to move on. They were already right there, ready to play. So we finished on time, maybe even before when we thought we were going to get out of there. The game started at 8 a.m. and I think the final game of the day maybe ended at 9:30, 9:45, which is pretty dang good for almost 100 wiffle ball games in the same day. But
that's pretty good.
How many fields?
8, including the home run derby, which brings me to this. I want to thank all of the MLW personnel and then some that helped us out with this tournament. I will say we weren't really expecting 77 teams. I was expecting maybe 50 to 60, but when we have 77, that requires more and more fields, which requires, of course, more and more umpires and help. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, Tom, we were understaffed. Mm-hmm. And so I had a big ask for all of the MLW guys that were there, and I'd like to shout them all out right now. So my teammates, Saylor, Norp, Jorgensen, the other squad, Red, was, of course, Colm, Baalman, Adams. And then we had Brendan Schultz, my dad, and then also Liam Porter, Jake Sullivan, Jackson Richardson, all these guys that know the MLW tournament circuit super well, know what to do. We had to call upon these guys when we were playing to do a home run derby station or a semifinal when the red team was playing. The absolute buy-in from everybody involved, it was insane. We didn't have MLW tournament legends like yourself, Daniel Schultz, Ryan Kratch, Greg Kratch, weren't able to make it this tournament.
Greg Kratch.
So the ask from me to guys like Saylor and everybody else was insane. And you'll see it more in the video too, but guys were sacrificing so much break times. Saylor was managing or was umpiring when he wasn't scheduled to because he wanted to just keep going. It was just the most unbelievable amount of buy-in I think I've ever seen from our group, and I'm definitely going to just do whatever it takes to reward them, because I truly can't I appreciate them so much. I can't thank them enough for how much work they put in for this one-day thing that it's been unprecedented to us.
Did you guys skip lunch?
Pretty much. They had some catered
You can't skip
sandwich.
lunch, Jack. That's a valid question.
You can't skip lunch.
If Josh Jung would not have reminded me to grab a sandwich in his little sweet area on the ground level, I would have not eaten. But I had to because he asked.
Yeah.
If that's not the
he's like, Kyle, you're never eating.
Pitch.
That's your biggest red flag. I'm like, I know. I got to put scores in though.
Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, if that's not the ultimate sales pitch, just Kyle describing the buy-in from even people who weren't expected to help out to get the job done.
It's insane.
That's the camaraderie that Nick was talking about at those tournaments. So I think that's a great testament to that. What about you, Nick? What did you think of the one-day tournament setup?
The one-day tournament. So setting up the fields, we were there the day before. That went smoothly, and then I was very interested to see how the one-day tournament goes after all the MLW tournaments 2 days. I played in the one MAW tournament that was 1 day, but that's completely different landscape because there's 4 teams in that and there's 77 here. I was very, very intrigued to see how it went, and we just kept shuffling through teams in and out. Like Kyle said, teams were ready to go. And if they were 0-2 and knew they had a terrible, or I shouldn't say terrible run difference.
A good effort from those 0-2 teams.
Yep.
Yeah. And they were ready to go, and every team was just buying in. Like the staff bought in from what Kyle said, and the players bought in because we needed cooperation from everybody from 77 teams to get going. And I talked with some of the security guards. I was like, "So what time you guys off tonight?" And they said 11 o'clock. And
yeah.
I looked at everything. I'm like, we're shooting pretty good right now. Yeah. And like Kyle said, we finished up around 9:30, and in 1 day, 8 o'clock to 9:30 for 77 teams. I'd like to see somebody beat them.
Somebody beat it. Good luck.
I'd love to see it.
I'm going to act like I contributed. I didn't, but it's impressive. It's an impressive feat.
Insane.
Saylor, I know you've had some funny moments in this podcast and behind the scenes over the years that our guys joke about with you. But before we sat down to record, Kyle was like, there was a classic Saylor moment. So I wanted to ask him on air what it was. I didn't get to hear about it yet.
Oh, it's funny. I'll tell it real quick.
Does Saylor know what it is, you think?
Yo, he 100% knows. So we're, of course, this morning, we're at TSA in the airport.
This is Monday morning.
Yeah, this is
day after.
Yeah, Monday morning coming back to Detroit. I get, flagged for whatever reason at the little screening area.
Yep.
So I get pulled to the side, and the TSA agent puts on his little blue gloves and is about to pat me down.
Coming through.
And Saylor's watching this happen. I don't think he's ever seen this happen before. He just goes, "What are you going to do to him?" He goes, "What are you going to do to him?" And then the TSA agent just looks at him and goes, "What?" I'm patting him down.
Saylor, what did you think was about to happen?
I told that to Norp and Jorgen, and they just all started dying. But he goes,
sure
"What are you going to do to him?" To a TSA agent.
What was going through your mind when you spoke those words?
Just you put the latex gloves on. And, doctors do that, man.
It wasn't a physical.
I know Kyle has nothing on him or in any of his bags to even flag him. So I was very, very suspicious at the time of what was going on. But obviously, those are all precautions to make sure everybody is safe every time someone's pulled over. It's for the safety of the general public. And I'm glad that they take those measures to make sure after all the stuff that's happened in the past.
Nice PC answer.
Yep.
And Kyle was let go just a few seconds.
A few pats later.
Yep.
A few pats later.
Kyle knows I had a pat down streak there for 2 consecutive years.
Yeah, Tom kind of has a concerning area of his body that consistently comes up on the screening.
I broke the curse. I swear to you. The last 2 or 3 times I've flown.
You got a plate in your arm or something?
Not in my arm, Jack. It's
another region.
Yeah, you could say what some refer to as the no-no square. I always would walk through security and I'd look back at the screen. It would just have the red box right around my waist. And I'm like, every time this happens. And the guy's like, "Well, do you want to go somewhere else?" I'm like, "Nah, man, just pat me right here." And it was a good, probably 5-6 flights a year for MLW.
I was concerned for a little bit.
I'd say it was a dozen flights in a row where I would flag right there.
I'm kind of shocked.
What was the fix?
I don't know, because I thought maybe it was a specific pair of sweatpants I was traveling in, so I changed pants one time, didn't fix it. I can't tell you what changed, but all of a sudden it just stopped happening. So I don't know if it was a coincidence, bad luck. Maybe I finally finished puberty. I don't know. You
were wearing the same underwear every time.
Maybe that's what it was. Just coincidentally, I wore the same underwear 12 times in a row. But I've seemed to have rid of that myself. But any other funny travel moments or classic... fun moments with the fellas?
Nothing crazy. I always love the little things, just traveling in the airport and going to Whataburger with the guys. We went to Texas Live the night before, which is really cool. A lot of TVs there. We watched a playoff game.
That's cool.
Yeah. Saylor, how about you, man? Are you over your fear of flights now? I just talked to you about this, but let the pod listeners know.
I came into MLW afraid of planes, and currently, as many years as I'm in MLW, I am not afraid of planes.
There we go.
I was dozing off when we were taking off today.
Love that.
Awesome. Look at that. That's growth. Personal growth.
That's right.
That's what MLW will do to a guy.
That's what we do.
MLW is literally helping people conquer their fears. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's phenomenal. That is phenomenal, Nick.
Jack, I appreciate it. But what you just said is 100% true. I mean, I have not been on a plane outside of MLW, so I appreciate everything that MLW has done for me in the air and to get over my fear of flights over the past few years.
Norp kind of had the same thing, but we kind of just beat it out of you. When you do it so much, it's you can't really be scared.
I think Norp's still afraid.
Nah, he's fine.
I always look at Norp like before a flight takes off. I'm like, Jim, if this bird goes down, just
you always
remember.
scare him.
And he looks at me, he just gives me the look and shakes his head like that's not funny. And I'm like, dude, it is funny.
Yeah, and when Jimmy's serious, it's funny. It's like, come on, man.
If this bird goes down though, I love you, Jim. Well, that's awesome. I'm jealous I wasn't on this trip. This sounds like a doozy.
Hey, we'll be back.
We'll be back.
That's the plan. That's the plan. Hopefully a 2-day tournament. I will say too, like, I wish more teams would have made it to bracket play just with the time constraints of one day. We can only do 4. So if we got 2 days with 16, like our traditional 16 moving on to Sunday, that'd be awesome. A big improvement. So ideally we return. And for more info about that, that'll be coming out later. And also our other tournaments. So that includes our Illinois, Michigan, New York. Those are all solidified and will be announced very soon. So it can account for you guys planning in the future for your summers. Wanted to be kind of on top of that. So
pretty sweet.
Announcing soon.
Kyle, do you think we can expect video uploads for more tournaments, or was this one just that cool that it warranted a video of its own?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think this whole entire event was just too cool not to specifically capitalize on.
Did you know that beforehand though?
Yeah, I did. I went in with a plan of like a shot list and like interviews I wanted and talking to all the guys, and like I was up close with a camera during all the games, so I knew I wanted to make a video about it. But I think this could be a great representation of what our tournaments look like and what they can look like to maybe other teams or just a casual viewer of MLW that has never been to our tournament. I think it's been a while, of course, since we have gone like a deep dive on our tournaments. So it could be a cool marketing tool to just kind of show what it's like and represent also how cool like Josh and all his boys are.
Josh is the best. I've already had a podcast where I just like talked about how great Josh was for a while, which I could do more.
Yep.
But he is a great dude. And again, like you could just tell that he was all in on the event from like he was promoting it on social media like and throughout the signups. The Rangers were tying into this as well, like their main accounts. Like it was great.
It was a good game. He was chucking. I've never faced him. Like I said, I've been on his team, so I've never had to face him. But he was the starting pitcher for Team MLB. So see how it goes down in the video coming soon.
I'm actually excited to watch that. I'm intrigued.
Jace. Great crowd too, surrounding the whole wiffle ball field. It was awesome.
That's as close as you're gonna get to watch some MLW or MLB guys play.
Exactly.
Some wiffle ball. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's backyard feel.
Mm-hmm. Is that going to be like the next upload on the channel, or do we have something in between?
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 away. We'll do top 10 plays, and then the tour, and then this Rangers video.
Love that.
Nice. Top 10 plays. Love that.
Good little stuff.
I think I got my number 1. There's also a play in this top 10 video that is going to be. It's like a play that wasn't in a game. And he's not on an MLW roster, but we have a top 10 play from somebody that qualifies those categories.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, really, really.
I don't know what this is.
Underrated.
I actually don't know what this is.
I know. I took Norp like 20 minutes to figure it out, and then when he figured it out, he's like, "Oh yeah, for sure."
Okay, I'll have to ask you about that after this pod.
All right.
Texas, great event. I'm sure we'll revisit this in more details when that video drops.
For sure.
Too.
I want to make it good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like really good.
Yeah. Saylor, you got another 5-10 minutes for us?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
While we had you, I just feel like we haven't caught up with you in a while. I don't think we've even talked to you since like the conclusion of last season. I wanted to ask you first of all because you got hurt mid-year, and I kind of know what happened. I think from Norp, he kept me in the loop. But what actually happened? How'd you injure yourself last year to keep you off the field?
So last year I was playing slow pitch softball, and I was watching a lot of slow pitch softball guys on TikTok, and a lot of the power comes from your hips, obviously, and anything, I was practicing really, really coiling up my backside to load it up to really, launch these balls, try to get them over the fence. And the very first swing, I tried to coil with my backside. Like, imagine you're loading to hit.
In game or practice?
No, in game.
Mm-hmm.
And I dislocated my knee. My kneecap ended up on the right side of my knee, and I had to pop it back in very quick. So, that was a very, very, it was probably the most traumatic injury I've had. I luckily didn't tear anything, but if I do it again, surgery can come, which will have longer lasting effects. And I kind of shut everything down last summer right after that because I needed to get back up to speed. And it was honestly a rough summer, not much wiffle ball. I couldn't go out to first base to coach my baseball team. I had to sit on the bench.
Dang.
But just getting back up to speed, Wiff, it was still bothering me, but this weekend it was one of the best my knee is. It's the best my knee has felt since before the injury. So we're moving in the right direction. I appreciate you asking, Tom, and we're looking forward to getting back.
I'm just curious. Did Saylor go? Did you play 100% this weekend, or were you kind of just out there seeing how everything felt?
No, I felt like I was going 100% in what we were doing. I felt like
awesome.
I was up to speed. I feel like obviously I still need to keep working and keep getting back up to speed, but it was a good step in the right direction for coming back next year.
In our game, not against the MLB guys, Saylor did go yard. So Saylor's back.
All right. He might be back.
2025, he's back.
As Jonah would say, call the department. That's what Jonah loves to say, Jonah Heath.
It's good to hear that you're feeling better, Nick. We just had Sawyer on the pod talking about injuries, so it's always good to hear that people are recovering from them, because we're all athletes here, have been through that. It sucks, man. It's a grind. So happy to hear you're doing better. But I'm just curious, I know that you're a good hitter already and a strong hitter. I'm not that familiar with slow pitch softball. I mean, how much distance were you trying to add? Was this injury worth the risk? How hard were you coiling?
Nukes, Jack. Nukes.
I coiled as far as I could possibly go, and I will never coil as far as that again, Jack. The fences are about 300 to 310 feet, and I just want to consistently get the launch angle where I can hit it off the fence or over the fence, because I just want to hit it far in that. And I messed up big time.
So,
Jack, you were a college lacrosse player. You have probably had some nasty injuries with all the slap and what's going on in that. I mean, I appreciate the words you gave, but coming back from an injury, you probably have experience from that, and that's what I'm trying to get. That's where I'm trying to get fully.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mental side too. Honestly, is the biggest part of it, and depending on the injury. But it was just a story where I'm thinking, how far does he regularly hit it? How far were you hitting it before you try this massive slinky coil technique to try to get this ball out of the yard every time?
I was hitting it solid, just not as far as I would like to be. I was hitting the gaps and rolling it up to the fence and running around the bases. I want to consistently hit it over the fence so I can talk some mad crap to the pitcher, but
can't argue with that.
Can't argue with the guy who wants to hit a bomb. I mean, that's totally fair. He paid the price.
The long balls.
Paid the ultimate price.
But learned the lesson. Learned.
That's right.
Lesson learned big time.
Are you gonna wear a really cool Wildcats leg sleeve now, just for extra support on the knee this summer?
So I do have a knee brace. I'm probably not gonna wear a knee brace, but if anything Wildcats colored could be put on, I will definitely rock some purple and white or purple and black, something over my knee, whether it's support or not. That sounds actually pretty sweet, Jack. I might have to take a flyer on that.
I like that.
I like that idea.
That's gonna be Jack. Are you familiar with the interview from probably 10 years ago now of Aaron Rodgers when he hurts his knee in practice or in the middle of the game? Then they interview him post game, and looks like he may have been on some painkillers, and he's like, "My knee." That's gonna be Saylor this year. After he goes out there and coils up on the first pitch of the season, that's to play through it the entire year. He's gonna hit a walk-off bomb, and it's gonna be Jimmy Nort post game at the wall. Saylor, what went well today? He's like, "My knee." It's gonna be Saylor.
That's funny.
My knee. I appreciate you guys, though. I do.
Oh, we appreciate you, Saylor. You're always a guy that brings a smile to the room. Well, from the sidelines, you played a few series, of course, but rest of the way, obviously the Cats season didn't shape up how I'm sure you all wanted it to, but I want to ask you about Baalman. What did you see from Baalman this year, and do you think the future is looking bright in the Cats organization with him kind of being a real potential stud here as a number 1 overall pick last season?
Patrick Baalman is an A-plus human being, an A-plus wiffle ball player. Pat doesn't miss on much. He has his own league in NWA in Missouri. If you haven't peeped that, that's on YouTube, NWA at the Baalman Yards. But Pat's awesome. Pat is dedicated to this game. He was telling me he's running tournaments in Missouri. He's running tournaments in Florida down at Ave where he went to college. And Pat is all in on this. And honestly, to play for the Wildcats, I'm so glad Patrick Baalman is on our team. First off, from the distance, the MLW is Pat's releasing it right here on you with his frame. So Pat has a lot of skill. I really got a chance to sit down and really pick his brain this week just on what he throws, clean ball, cut ball, pavement scuff ball. And I've talked with Pat a lot. He's a great guy. We had Whataburger for the first time together.
Broke some bread at Whataburger.
Oh, yeah. Great team chemistry, especially with Kyle showing us muscles on muscles from Adolis.
Yeah, I heard about that. I gotta investigate. I gotta peep that, as you said.
Pop the picture up. Guys, look at on Adolis's right bicep. He has like a muscle in an area I've never seen before. He has muscles on top of his muscles. If he stepped on Jorgie, he would die. That's what Jorgie said.
Adolis, I mean, he's a strong dude.
Look at this picture.
Insane. I gotta look at it again. I wish I was that well defined. Anything from you,
Saylor,
Jack?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, I think going into this past season, just looking at the rosters, you know, not knowing all of what we were going to get from the two rookies on the Cats, I think people were pretty optimistic going in. And I wouldn't say either of them had, you know, bad seasons by any means, but the result was not what the Wildcats wanted. So I guess similar roster, you know, maybe some moves are made, but what is going to be the difference maker for the Wildcats to rebound next year and, you know, be able to make a push to the World Series?
The difference next year, it's we got to remember who we are. I will put our team, the guys on our team currently, up against anybody in this league any day of the week. And we got to remember that. We have great chemistry. We got Kyle as our leader who runs the whole league, and I love my teammates. I love my manager. The camaraderie, I mentioned that before, but I love the camaraderie, the competitiveness, and when the Wildcats are playing hot, the Wildcats are hot. So we got to get back to playing good ball. We got to get back to playing consistent ball, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry. Kyle reminded me about some World Series mishaps we had over the past few years. Honestly, when I sit down and think about it, it just makes me more hungry. And we got animals on our team. Kyle's hungry for it. Jackson's hungry for it. Pat Baalman's hungry for it. Ty Fresnick's hungry for it. And Pete Ty Fresnick, he is practicing. Him and Fleer, they are out there nonstop working. So, and LJ, the professor, can't ever forget about him.
Can't forget the professor.
Never. But I love my team. I love the Wildcats. Excited.
Dude, we should just make a Wildcat commercial out of that speech right there. That was great.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That's our hype. That's where we're going to come out
video,
to.
Yeah.
Preview video right there.
I like that. I like that a lot. Well, thanks, fellas. Appreciate you both joining us here, breaking down the weekend. Good to catch up with you, Nick. And Kyle, we'll have to hear more about Texas.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
When you drop that video.
Yeah.
Excited to see it.
I'm excited to edit it.
A lot of footage.
Like I said,
probably a lot you don't remember. It was
the Rangers were filming. They had their whole crew there. We had all our cameras set up, bunch of GoPros, time lapse of setup and cleanup. Like, yeah, it was a lot of filming going down.
That'll be a movie. Excited for that.
Hopefully.
All right, fellas. Well, we'll let you go get some rest. I'm sure it's been a long couple of days. And yeah, thanks again, fellas. I got nothing else. Saylor, you're the man for coming on. We appreciate you. Glad you're feeling a little better. Hopefully you're healthy come May.
Tommy, I appreciate that. Kyle, Tommy, Jack, thank you for having me on. Always a blast talking wiffle with you guys.
Yep. Thank you, Saylor.
Thanks, Saylor.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, guys.
All right. Thank you to those two fine gentlemen for joining us. It is just Jack and I now wrapping up this second half of this episode, talking about the award show.
Yes,
Jack,
sir.
It was a fun one. Real intimate crowd there in downtown Brighton, our hometown, at one of my favorite spots. And some surprises in this one, I got to say, compared to years prior. I feel like I usually kind of had everything set in stone in my head as to what's going to go down, and I actually had a couple of head-scratching moments here from the MLW fandom that voted. How'd you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were definitely some obvious ones, but certainly some, I don't know if contentious is the right word. I feel like when you look at the results, all of them you can definitely explain and justify, but depending on the lens that you look through, you could be a little bit upset one way or the other. But yeah, great venue. I'm bummed that I missed this award show. It looked like a fun one. I don't know if we've done like a holiday themed one before, but that was a great theme. Santa did a great job hosting. But yeah, great video. I don't know if you want to jump into just like some snubs. I mean, I think the obvious ones we could just say were Ryan Cratch. I think that was pretty obvious MVP.
Where were the votes for the pod hosts in that one?
Yeah. Most dedication, PB. I felt like that one was pretty chalked.
Yep.
I mean, absolute, just class act and very dedicated, as mentioned in the video. And then I don't know, like, do you want to get it? What do you want to start with? Because I think the rest of them, you could kind of debate like one way or the other.
Yeah, so let me lay it on you guys. Here was the full layout in case you missed it. And if you did, definitely go check out the award show video. But in order, as announced in the video, Manager of the Year was Daniel Schultz. Most Improved Player was Caden Irwin. The Rookie of the Year was Levi Fleer. The Most Clutch was Landon Urgaitis. Most Dedicated, Patrick Baalman. Silver Slugger was a split award between Daniel Schultz and Ryan Cratch. The Gold Glove was the Big Pish, Jacob Pishka. Cy Young was a split award between Jordan Robles and Dallas Allen. And the MVP, undisputed 3-time MVP, was Ryan Cratch. So that was how the fans voted. And I just want to get into the snubs, Jack. Because again, there's not too much to talk about when it comes to Jordan winning MVP or PB winning Most Dedicated, things like that.
Cratch winning MVP.
Yeah. So
yeah,
what did I say?
Jordan.
Oh, my bad. Cratch winning MVP, and Pat Baalman winning Most Dedicated. But first one that the comment section sounded off on, and I actually talked about this last week, was Jeremy Adams not winning Rookie of the Year and Levi Fleer winning. And it proves, I think, the power of the recency bias from the MLW fans. And people were like, Jeremy got snubbed. Well, I'll tell you what. I talked to Kyle about this afterwards, and it was not a close vote. There's a reason why it wasn't split. It was like
wow.
It was like 3 votes for every 1 vote, Levi to Jeremy.
Wow.
So that's the results for you guys. I think the exact number I was told was like 73 or 74%. So
wow,
your fans are mad at yourselves for this one, I think.
Yeah, I mean the recency bias. We know that's a real thing. I would encourage. Hats off to Levi. I mean, he had a great season.
No, I'm not discrediting him at all. I'm just
awesome finish.
Talking back at the comment section.
I mean, I agree. I think Jeremy, we said it on the last podcast. I think he was the best pick. I think, the best pick for this award. I think his overall season, his body of work as a rookie was slightly more impressive than what Levi did, just with the numbers that Jeremy put up on the mound. I think if people replayed some of Levi's appearances on the mound like earlier in the year, they may have voted differently. But yeah, I guess it's just the timing of when we vote and the last videos people have watched and what they think of that player. I mean, if we're going solely on recency bias, I mean, I might have a lot of fans out there. I was 100% in the postseason. So, I do think Jeremy got snubbed here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Again, I've openly said last weekend and years prior that I'm a regular season guy. Like, I like to weigh that into consideration maybe more than the postseason, just because not everybody gets a postseason. Just like Joe Burrow had on paper like a really good year, tons of passing yards this year. He didn't get a chance to, continue that into some more like meaningful, all eyes on me type games. So I voted for Jeremy. That's who I would have thought actually the fans would have. But again, it's the recency bias. And let's face it, Levi absolutely went off in high pressure situations, multi-homer series, like carried. I mean, of course, Cratch was pitching, but carried his team offensively from the ALCS into the World Series in a series that like he was almost leaving. Remember, he had to go to homecoming or whatever it was, and just came out of nowhere. And then homered again in the World Series to tie up the game and to keep the Predators in it. Like, just exploded at the plate in his last 3 series of the year. So I totally understand why he was getting votes, and had he done that from the start, then it wouldn't even be a question. But Jeremy was more of a two-way weapon. His batting average was kind of lackluster if you look at the numbers, but I think overall, he had maybe more of a well-rounded season from start to finish. But I think also I'll defend Levi here too. Not only did he finish strong, but also Jeremy was kind of the rookie of the year from series 1. Everyone kind of gave the award to Jeremy before the year was over. And then nobody really paid attention to anybody else. And then again, it wasn't like Jeremy's numbers were outstanding. They were decent for a rookie, but they weren't like incredible to where it really should have been maybe such a one-man race, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I'm interested to see how both of these guys, their seasons next year.
Me too.
I think both of them can take a big step forward, and it'll just be interesting to see how they do. So,
and dare I say, watch out for. I think these two are both going to have very solid sophomore campaigns. I'm going to say I actually think Adams will do more as a sophomore than Levi. I think Adams is going to become a really good pitcher. And watch out for Ty. Ty, I think, is a great player too, and they just play a lot of wiffle ball. You know, him and Levi and that friend group who grew up in the same hometown as us, they play. So naturally, they're going to get better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Are we good to transition to another one? Because you said something that I feel like leads into another one I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah, I think I've gotten everything I need to off my chest about that award. Two good players, you know, and the fans voted, and they made a definitive choice.
So you mentioned the favoring, I guess, to like the you know, the stats, or like I said, the body of work in the regular season. How did you feel about the Cy Young split? Because this one was like kind of hard for me, because the season that Jordan had was, I mean, I guess I'd have to really look at this statistically, but I felt like it was unprecedented from like a strikeout standpoint and just how good he was on the mound this year in the regular season. I didn't even really think that like splitting it was going to be an option. And then I looked at Dallas's stats in the postseason, and I was kind of like, okay, I mean, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense why they would split that award. But obviously, you know, being Jordan's teammate and manager, you might feel a certain way. But just give me your thoughts on the Cy Young split.
I think kind of similar to what I said about Rookie of the Year. You know, I like the regular season just because it gives everybody kind of similar playing field, a similar landscape to, you know, put together their best possible body of work. However, again, this voting is based upon the entire 2024 campaign and not just the regular season. So you pull it all together, I see exactly why Dallas got about 50% of the vote alongside Jordan too. So like it makes sense to me why this one split. It's again, it was a tale of two seasons, really. Dallas was very good all regular season. Like it wasn't like he was a nobody. He was a top probably 3 arm, I'd say, arguably.
He was great.
Yeah. So you know, when you combine that with whatever it was, a 8-0 record in the playoffs, 7-0 record in the playoffs, it's really tough to argue with. I mean, he was about as close as you could be as flawless in the postseason, and I think he did like deserve it. Just you combine that with a top 5, top 3 regular season, it's hard to argue with. Whereas Jordan was just so good. So, you know, I wonder if Jordan has like a salty taste in his mouth about splitting this one, but it's tough to argue with.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think you can argue. I think you can argue each way. I mean, I think what you can't argue is that Dallas would have won this like award alone. I think you could argue that Jordan could win it alone. Just because of how good he was in his regular season. So I think if anyone's upset, it's probably Mallards fans and probably more so Jordan. But you know, regardless, I both well earned, well deserved. I mean, Dallas was just like lights out all postseason, so it's kind of hard not to give him something for his pitching effort in the postseason.
Yeah. Although he didn't shake my hand when I tried to congratulate him, so maybe you should take his award away.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Rough night for me at the award show. Show up, don't win anything, didn't get a handshake, stomach hurt, just a lot went wrong. The last award, Jack, that I really wanted to point a finger at would be, and this is a funny one to argue about, but Manager of the Year. I was pulling for Drew on this one. I mean, Dan, you know, he led his squad to a World Series where nobody competed with him, so it's hard to argue. And Drew's season was like totally different. You know, they sneak into the playoffs. They put together a gritty win beforehand, you know, with some strategy, intentionally walking guys and stuff like that. So it was just totally separate campaigns, and it's like comparing apples to oranges. But I like Drew here just because of how unprecedented his season was, and it truly looked like he was setting up the Cobras for disaster, and kind of had a bit at the World Series, so it was pretty cool to watch.
I'll be honest, we have been preparing little sort of Google Doc note notes for our podcast that we go off of, so it's more scheduled, so we're not just rambling on for you folks.
Yeah, and
Tommy put in the notes, Drew Davis snubbed ? And I will be completely honest, I had no idea what award he was talking about.
That's my bad.
That's my bad. So that is not, and that's not, no, that's not a shot at you, Tommy. I guess it's more so just, me thinking about it. But once I looked at him, I knew that you were thinking about manager of the year. And I could see what you're saying. In my personal opinion, I'd actually love to see what the votes were, because I don't think they should be close. I think Dan definitely...
I doubt it was close.
I think Dan definitely won this award. Like, he...
Dan by a mile, I just got word.
The way that... sorry, what was that?
I said I just got word it was Dan by a mile.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, just the way that he, managed this team back from the way that they ended last season, didn't draft anyone... we saw that work out not so great for one team and work out great for another. And I think he definitely deserves this award. But you're right. I mean, hats off to Drew. It was like, halfway through the off season, we're talking about like, what is this manager doing?
Yeah.
And then they end up with a pretty good chance to go to the World Series when everybody counted them out. So I think Drew was in the conversation, but I don't think, I wasn't really surprised with this result. And kudos to Dan for that.
No, I think it was probably wishful thinking for me. But again, I was just impressed with the Cobras campaign. And again, Saylor used the word like buying in. I was impressed with Drew's ability to really get that squad of guys who had sort of been written off or hadn't played in a while, hadn't succeeded in a while, to really buy in and, give it their best effort. They went out there and they had fun. They played hard and they fought to the end. So I just thought it wasn't what I was expecting from this Cobras team. I thought maybe they wouldn't take it as serious. Might be a team that starts to slip in the standings fast, like the Mallards of 2021, 2022, 2020 and 2021. You had the Magic teams that had a few rough years. That's what I thought Drew was setting himself up for, and I really couldn't have been more wrong. So I just thought they were fun to watch, and I think Drew did a pretty good job just getting those guys in the right headspace to really compete, despite being a unique cast of characters. I'll credit Dan with one thing I think that impressed me about Dan is, the Eagles lost their number 2 in Blade Walker kind of halfway through the year. Blade went off to school, doing other things, didn't quite budget the time for wiffle ball, didn't make it a priority. And that can be a blow to team morale, when you have a guy who's like a big reason why you were good the year before and you're winning games and all of a sudden he's unavailable to you on your roster. That's a tough one to swallow, I think, for the teammates, and tough to push through. But the Eagles really never wavered, I feel like, mentally. They all kind of kept their heads up, figured out a way to get it done without Blade, and that was impressive, I thought.
Yeah, no, for sure. Again, I think just it was a real masterclass for Dan, and I was happy to see him win this.
I was glad that they got there and won this time, because then when we beat them, I'll feel less bad for Dan.
Same. Yep.
I don't feel bad if I send him packing now, because it's like, all right, you got your ring, modern day. Let me go get mine now.
Yeah, that's right. Any other surprises to you? I was a little bit surprised with the Gold Glove, and I think it's just because I forgot about how good Pishka was in the field. But we didn't mention him, in our talk with Sean. But when Kyle rolls that clip in the award show of that catch, it's kind of like, yeah, that was absurd. That was ridiculous. And Pish was a great fill-in, great replacement for Shima and that team, and he fits well with their team dynamic of playing great defense. So I don't know. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, I think a lot of great defenders on that D-backs team, and I know Sean said that Jimmy's the best statistical defender, but I think when you have guys in the ballot, right, and then real fans, it sparks the memory of that crazy catch that Pishka had against the Wildcats, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna vote for him. He had that sick play, that totally helps your case, I think, and he was very solid out there A lot of great plays. He went into a tough spot and filled it fantastically. And I was really happy for Pishka, to be honest with you. It's cool to win an award as a guy who never has won one before.
You've never won one?
Well, Pishka had never won one before. I mean, I basically have forgotten what it feels like. It's been so long, so might as well have never won one before. The awards awesome. I won, Jack, were so long ago that they were literally just like printed on a piece of paper in colored ink. I still have it, I think, somewhere. Maybe I moved on from it. I had my 2010 Silver Slugger sheet of paper somewhere. I know for sure I had it in this house last year. I'm not sure if it made the move with me, but
I think I got some Manager of the Year awards like that.
You got some hardware. Maybe even more than I do, Jack.
I don't have any hardware.
Manager of the Year hardware.
I didn't get a trophy.
So you don't actually have. I meant like the the fake hardware. You've won awards. That's what I was trying to say.
I have one. Yes.
I think
somehow
the hardware that I have to my name would be a couple World Series trophies. I had that 2010 Silver Slugger award. I had a Home Run Derby trophy made of tinfoil somewhere, and that might be it. Oh, I have a couple MLW tournaments, but it's been a long time. Couple Twinsburg World Series tournaments. I mean, I got a decent little wiffle ball trophy case, but it's pretty dated. It's a little dusty, I must say.
I really want to win a derby, man. I think I got.
I do too. We could do it, Jack.
I think I got to.
We should grind. We should grind and sort of shock the world. Be the finals together.
Well, here's what I was going to say. We could grind. We could grind, and that would give us a good chance. Or we could take Jonah and Ryan out to like Chili's before and just put something in their food so that they're really sick. They're really sick and can't compete. They just can't compete.
Or we could bite their kneecaps.
And then we got a shot. Also, we can't play each other in the first round.
Agreed. We need to figure out a way to not make that happen.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Best way to do that, we both hit a bunch of bombs. We're both 1 seeds, and then I guess at best we could be 2 seeds. It'll be Heath and Cratch probably as the 2 1 seeds again. Was that the finals again this year? What was the finals this year? Down. In the Home Run Derby, what was the finals? Cratch Heath again? 3 times in a row? No shot. I feel like there was an upset. Somebody lost.
I'm telling you, just, you know.
Oh, Jimmy won it all. That's right. Jimmy won it all. Okay. Jimmy versus Drew this year. Tides are turning, Jack. We got a chance at this thing.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
We got to grind. I think just 1 or 2 good sessions beforehand give us a shot.
I'm down. I actually love the home run derby.
We also got to make the derby because at the rate we're going, we're not going to get an invite this year.
Well, yeah, I'm always like I was a late ad.
You're a fringe guy?
So hopefully I can get that again.
I think I only made it this year because of my performance last year, but I'm no shoo-in this year. I think I gotta hit at least 1 before the break to get that call.
Any other surprises or any other awards you wanted to touch on? I know we got a comment of the week from this video. Oh, we do. I was disappointed to not see my name on the MVP ballot, but besides that, nothing else really major to mention. Right, same, true. But I'm not looking for an MVP. I'm looking for an NVP, a Nickelodeon valuable player, whatever they call it. We have the Nickelodeon broadcast for MLW. That's the award. I want to get slimed. I want to win that award. That's when we know that we've made it, when we've got the Nickelodeon broadcast. Yeah, when we have Jordan Rolbus getting eaten by the dirty bubble in between innings, that's how we know we've made it. Although that was a curse. So, comment of the week this week is from Derek. And Derek says, that was Tommy's biggest rip of the season. And nice. That's a funny comment. And I don't know why you said it was my biggest rip, because that wasn't my fart. That was Dan. What's so funny? It wasn't me, Jack. It's on tape. It's on tape. Yeah, I know. It was Dan. It wasn't me. It's literally on tape. I know. There's video proof that Dan farted. I'm gonna be honest. All right, this is the inside scoop that you guys get. I'm watching this video prepping. Sarah's watching it with me. Oh God! And sees this clip, and she goes, "Tommy farts a lot on camera." And I go, "A lot on camera? What are you talking about? That's my first ever on camera fart." She goes, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "No, he was farting a lot during the Waffle House challenge." So I don't know. We might have to go watch that tape, but. You might be starting a little highlight reel here. I might have farted a few times at Waffle House, but I didn't fart at the Christmas video. That was Dan. That was Dan. Oh, you guys will have to watch the tape.
I love that because I didn't. All right, it was me. I'll be honest. It was me, guys. Surprise, it was me. I don't know why my immature brain. You guys see, I'm a mature guy, right? Like I take my work very serious. I'm like a cut and dry dude. There's something about farts that will always be funny. I'm sorry. That's how hilarious. My brain is wired. And I don't think anybody in that circle back there was laughing as hard as I was at my own fart. That's how immature I am. And I realized immediately the camera was pointed at me, and I'm like, that's totally going to be on video. And didn't know it'd make the final cut, but sue me. I farted. I had to toot. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Sarah.
Pat, that's the quote on the thumbnail right there. Sue me, I farted. But that's it.
That's the alternate. If the first thumbnail flops, we'll transition to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll swap it out. But yeah, I was making myself giggle back there. I tooted. I don't know why, but I think it's funny to like obviously fart and then like claim it, and then like 5 minutes later, like that wasn't me. I don't know why. I just find that amusing in my head. So that was the play I pulled there. But on this podcast, classic. I was telling you guys with Cheatham the one time that it's a risky game to play, but a well executed, well timed public fart is as good as it gets. It takes the right crowd, the right environment, the right amount of isolation from society so that other people can't smell it in case it's smelly. But it's funny. I'm sorry. It's funny to me. I think it's funny to other people too.
This is the content you guys come here for.
I'm just calling a spade, man. That was one of those times. I'm just keeping it real.
Keeping it real.
You got a group of like 8 dudes up there. Nobody else is up there. That's the perfect time to execute a funny public fart.
It was funny.
And that's my TED Talk. Do it at your own risk, folks. It's a special time and a special place to make it happen. But I think at your own risk. I think it was well executed. I apologize to anybody who saw that.
We got time for Whiff of the Week. We haven't had a Whiff of the Week in a while.
We haven't. I'll start, Jack. My whiff is I promised you I would get you a Christmas present by the end of this week, and I still have it sitting at my home. I haven't delivered the goods yet. Santa never came.
Well, I guess in better news, I actually do have your gift. So surprisingly, I am, only like 2 weeks, 3 weeks late now at this point, but I do have your Christmas gift. So whenever we're ready to do this swap, we are equipped for the swap.
We got to make it happen. I should try to get it. Well, see, next week, Jack, you're going to kind of be lone wolfing you're going to be kind of lone wolfing it for most of this podcast. We'll get you a guest hopefully, but I'm going to be traveling to Arizona for work. I do return on Tuesday, the day before we upload. So maybe, just maybe, you do like a 30-minute interview, whatever it may be, with a guest. And then maybe Tuesday night, if PB agrees, we can sneak in a quick segment where we open gifts and then hopefully talk about a Lions trip to the NFC Championship game. Hopefully. That'd be a pretty cool thing to talk about, huh?
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. Let's not jinx it. So go Lions, beat the Commanders. So yeah, any whiffs from you?
My whiff of the week is just simply that I was the manager of one of 2 teams not represented in the MLW awards.
Wow, that is a
in
whiff.
2024 season. Every team except the Magic and Gators were represented. So that was a whiff. I feel like it was an opportunity, and we just got a fat goose egg. Nobody got an award, and I put that on myself. That's on me, and that's a whiff.
That's a whiff, but you know what, Jack? That's a whiff you can bounce back from in the future.
That's true. We can literally only go up from here.
Well, also the Magic kind of cleaned up last year at the award show. Did you?
We did.
So
yeah, we got all of our awards last year. We're at a pretty good average if you look at the average awards that the Magic are bringing in over the past 2 years. I mean, Sean could run those numbers, but it's a decent average.
Crunch those numbies. Crunch them again.
Crunch.
That's all from us, I think, folks. The NFL postseason has been great. I know last year we gave you more NFL talk. I think that maybe that will resume after next weekend. We got some doozies on the slate. Bills-Ravens is going to be a great one. I probably can't watch it, unfortunately. Our Lions are taking on the Commanders. You got the Eagles versus the winner of tonight's game, Monday night, as we record this. And then, of course, everyone's rooting for the Texans against the Chiefs. Sorry, Chiefs fans, but that Texans defense, Jack, they played good last weekend.
They looked good.
They looked good. I don't know. Sneaky
Their
upset.
offense scares me, but they looked good.
Oh yeah, it's a brutal team to watch, kind of, but their defense played phenomenal. So I think they're alive in that game. I'm gonna be honest.
It's exciting. I mean, it's just exciting across the board. I feel like it's one of the most like evenly spread playoffs I feel like we've had in a while. Like I feel like the inevitable of the Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl is still there just because it's Patrick Mahomes. But
yeah, it is.
I feel like there's a lot of teams. Like I feel like every team outside of maybe the Texans that's left, you could make an argument for like winning the Super Bowl, which on both sides, in my opinion, which is cool.
Yeah, I would kind of agree. I don't see the Commanders doing it, but you watch. That's going to be a terrible clip when they beat us at home next week.
The Commanders, it would take a lot for a rookie quarterback to do that, but
it would.
They've won some crazy games.
If Jaden walks into Ford Field and breaks my heart, you know what? I'll maybe not next week, but in a few weeks, I'll tip my cap to the guy. That'd be an impressive feat.
I like our chances.
I do.
We don't do great against mobile quarterbacks, but I like our chances.
I do too. But sorry, PB, that your Steelers lost. Bummer. I'm sure you were bummed. But Lamar and Derrick Henry, talk about inevitable. That's a tough tandem to stop. So I know the Steelers will be back next year. They are every year, it seems like, in the postseason. So sorry, PB. Do us a favor and hop on our bandwagon. Root for the Honolulu Blue for us. And watch some football, folks. Only a few weeks left. Cherish it. And then we got to weather the storm for a few months of just like NBA and NHL, and then it's whiff season. Baseball and whiffs are back.
Yep.
That's a wrap. Appreciate you all tuning in. Next Wednesday should be a fun one. Jack will be leading the way. Wish him luck, everybody. But for now, that'll do it. I met a friend of Dallas Allen's at a Panera Bread today. We will see you all next week.
Pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up, pipe it up.